to our goofy panel of 3 library people who really, really like to read. And contrary to popular belief, we don't get to read at work.
No.
We wish. But we set out to pick some of our favorite reads and some of our recommended reads from this year or coming up new releases. But we didn't go with the big blockbusters that you all already know about. So hopefully there'll be a variety in this presentation that will stretch your reading awareness. So I'm gonna actually, I was gonna say, I'm turning this over to Megan.
Okay, so I may have broken my own rule that I imposed about blockbusters because if you're familiar with Joe Hill's dad is Stephen King, his brother's Owen. He writes better than his dad, I feel like, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And he has his first novel out in 10 years. And it's been 10 years. But it's like 1,000 pages long, so, I mean, he made it worth our while, I guess. I'm super excited for this one. It comes out, I want to say like October 21st. So it's dark academia. There's dragons in it. He's kind of known, if you're familiar with his work, he does a lot of like genre blending, kind of epic horror. So every book is kind of just a whole new blend of all things creepy and sci-fi and weird. So this time he's going dark academia. He throws in demons in the form of dragons that are demanding yearly sacrifices, in the form of human sacrifices. So, like, you know, maybe don't summon demons out of a book that's covered in human flesh. So, yeah.
Click. Nope, you're good. My first pick for the year was a book that kind of came out of left field for me. And I watch a bunch of YouTube, so I'm still in the YouTube era. I'm not on TikTok. I had it one day and I wasted 3 hours just like that. And I was like, no. So I deleted it. So I'm still on YouTube, and I follow probably 4 book reviewers, and 3 of them reviewed this book, talking about how great it was, and I hadn't even seen it in the library. I was like, where is this book? How come I don't know about this book? So I picked it up, and I really loved it. This is adult fantasy romance. It's I would call it slow burn, not too spicy. It's more about the characters and the story, the world that they're in. So right off the bat, there's these 2 sisters. One of them is being groomed to an arranged marriage, and the other is kind of the spare, if you will. But the twist is, and this happens pretty quick in the book, that the groom doesn't want the sister that has been arranged and prepared her whole life for the marriage. So the other sister gets thrown in at the very last moment, has no idea what she's doing, hasn't been prepared for anything. It's a great mixture, a little bit of suspense. There are some suspenseful characters that you're trying to figure out. Now, you know, is this a good guy? Is this a bad guy? You know, you're trying to figure this out, and then at the same time, there's a little bit of this political intrigue that's happening between families and between these different countries, which is how this arranged marriage is supposed to fit in. So I like the hot guys. There's a couple of them. The interesting infected monsters. I've never seen this kind of development of monsters, and I do read a lot of sci-fi, so I thought it was great. And it does appear that there's going to be a sequel to it. So I really hope so, because I loved where the story was going, and it was really good. And I first time I read a book by this author too, Daphne Perry. So
She's a great writer.
yeah.
Hello. So my first book is Tourist Season by Bryn Weaver. Bryn Weaver kind of like came out last year, I'd say. Like
She was
in
here
a-
last year.
She was here last year, but she came out in a big way with her Ruinous Love trilogy, which is a serial killer romance trilogy. So this is a new one. It's also about serial killers. They're 2 serial killers, and they're kind of like the Dexter variety of serial killers. So they're going after people for a reason. But basically, the thing about this one is the guy comes into this quaint little tourist town to find the woman that he believes killed his brother. And she's also a killer who basically keeps unwanted behaviors out of her quaint little like tourist town. So if somebody's you know a little handsy with a barmaid or something, in the wood chipper, basically. So the fun thing about this one, I really like is, and she does this for all her books, but first she goes through the trigger warnings, and they are hilarious. You have to read the trigger warnings when you read these books, especially with hers. But she also has playlists in this book that you can read along. So there's an Apple Music and a Spotify for each chapter with songs the author thinks will go with like the mood. So very excited for this one, just started it. It's kind of a slow burn for her. I skimmed it, and the post-it is where the spice starts, so kind of in the middle. Thank you. All right.
Yes, even library staff cheat.
Yes, they do.
All right, so this one I actually just read not that long ago. It's called Advent. It's by Seth Ring, and this is a lit RPG. So if you aren't familiar with lit RPG, it's basically a book that reads similar to like a video game, like a role-playing video game. This one is a really great one to start with if you're new to the genre, if you aren't a gamer. It's not super dense, like some of them, like I flipped through like Dungeon Crawler Coral, and like I feel like it's a little bit more intense, and this is very, very readable, very understandable. There's aliens, so we have Mark, who's a dishwasher, he's working this dead-end job, and then he stumbles across this mysterious woman who's dying, and when she dies, he gets these special abilities that then allow him to enroll in a military training college. And so then he starts training to fight aliens. So there's kind of a lot, you know, if you're into things with a lot of action and an adventure right from the start. My husband called me because he had a flight that got delayed, and so he was stuck without a book for a night. He's like, give me a book. So I gave him a title, and he read it all the way through, and then he started book 2 on the plane the next day. So it's a really great one to read, like if you have, you know, middle school or high school kids in your house. I have friends who have like teen boys, and they loved it. They tore through the first 2 books. There will be 4 ultimately. So plus there's a mysterious cat, which you don't love a mysterious cat.
Is that YA?
It is not YA, but I feel like it would be very appropriate for a teen. I would have no problem telling a teen to read it. So.
And she is a teen librarian.
I am.
So.
Yeah.
I'm piggybacking. We chose our books all separately, but my book is very similar. So this happens to be book 3 up on the screen, Behind the Veil. This is the Trans-Dimensional Hunter series. It's book 3 just released. This is book 3. And it's also a lit RPG, and it's very action and story focused, but there's a couple really cool things that drew me to it. I was originally drawn to it because I mentioned that I read a lot of sci-fi, and John Ringo is one of my favorites. And I thought it was really interesting that he was paired up with Lydia Shearer. She is a cozy fantasy, real light type of romance writer. So I was interested. I was like, I want to see where this is going. And this is adult as well, but it is 100% completely teen appropriate. It is clean science fiction. There is no on-page sex. There's hardly any language at all, but it's action. It's moving. It is partially, the important part about it is that there's this group of mostly teenagers, but anyone in the book can play this game. And the main character is a girl gamer, and she doesn't have a lot of gaming cred because the guys think girls can't game, you know, and that's bull. So, so it was fun developing. I don't think the publisher would call this a coming of age book, but there are definitely parts of the coming of age trope or whatever you want to call it that match with this. These teenagers are competing against some adults in a game, and then they're also developing themselves as a team because it's not all individual, and some of them are hiding some secrets. And I was telling Emily before this, I love a good AI, and there's a wisecracking, smart game AI that is always great. So if you like action and you're looking for something maybe just very different, I picked this one up when I was done with fantasy. I read a whole bunch of fantasies in a row, and I was like, I have to do something different. It is. It's different, and it's good. So I hope you like it. And click. Okay.
So none of my books are appropriate for children or teens. This one's not so bad. But, this is Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. I have been loving Rachel Harrison since like about 2020. She started, it's not a series, but they're kind of connected. So she's done a witch book, a vampire book, a werewolf book, an Antichrist book, which was very much my favorite one, called Black Sheep. And this one is her haunted / possessed house novel. I really love her writing. She's super like snarky, super funny. She always has like strong female characters, protagonists generally, who can be a little messy, but you know, they come out in the end. So this one is basically the plot is there is a social media influencer, and she grew up in a haunted or possessed house. And her mom wrote books about it. She was sure it was possessed, but her sisters who grew up with her don't believe her. So they were kind of estranged from the mother, but then she dies, and they inherit the haunted / possessed house. And they have to come together basically to, you know, figure out what to do with this house. But the main character, Cleo, sees an opportunity to like make it into the HGTV kind of like influencer world by doing like a rehab on camera. And so it's kind of like a dysfunctional family / haunted thing. I am highly anticipating that this is going to be a really good read. So, but anything honestly by her post 2020, I know she wrote some stuff before that, can't vouch for that, but any of her more current novels, totally hilarious, not really scary, but a little scary. Really fun. We want nonfiction.
Yes. All right. So I pulled this one. This one looks super good. It's narrative pop nonfiction. So this isn't going to be like something you read in college or whatever. It's very academic. This is just fun. So this is Glitz, Glam, and a Damn Good Time. Mamie Fish was a socialite during the Gilded Age, which is like the late 1800s and the very beginning of the early 1900s. And she was married to one of you know, the titans of industry. So her husband had railroad money. She was married to Stuyvesant and Fish. And she was kind of running around in circles with like Mrs. Astor and some of the other like, you know, pedigreed socialite. But maybe Mamie was pretty eccentric, and she kind of liked to mess with people. So she would hold these really wild, insane parties. One time she held a birthday party for her dog, and the dog wore a $15,000 like diamond encrusted collar. And she also invited other dogs to attend this party. She made some of the rich titans of industry dress like babies and speak baby talk all night for one of her parties. So it's like just totally insane. She also was pretty snarky. She was really great with, you know, the backhanded compliments. I think one of the phrases or one of the sayings she had, somebody said, "Oh, you know, it was something about like, oh, it's, I don't remember now. No, it's gone." Anyway, she just had some real snarky, sarcastic comments. Of course, everything comes crashing down in the late 20s. If you're into things like the Gilded Age or even kind of that Gatsby with the wild parties, or if you just like to watch Real Housewives in New York, like just want to watch rich people make really bad decisions and act poorly, and I don't know. I'm really excited for this one. It should be a good one. Oh my god, I love this one. This one was so good.
First of all, I have a little question up there. Is the 80s historical fiction? Because that's when I grew up, and how can that be historical fiction?
When we were genreing the collection, I swear to God, there were fist fights in the back room about what is historical fiction.
So apparently 80s is historical fiction, and I kind of picked it up a little bit just because of that, I guess. So I was born in the mid-70s, but I feel like my true childhood was the 80s. I consider myself an 80s kid. So the White Python World Tour it's a comedy satire. Basically, we have Ricky. He is a drummer, and he's trying to make it in Los Angeles, Hollywood. So he's got a band, and something interesting happens, and all of a sudden luck starts really going his way. He makes it. He gets a gig in a new band, White Python, with a Y. And the band is just what you're imagining, the 80s style, hard hair band, scream and rock type of band. This is the culmination of the Cold War, and the premise behind this is the tensions that are happening in the East Bloc of the Soviet Union, along with the desire of the Americans and more like Western culture to get a leg into those countries, to just let people see the open and freedom and freeness of these societies, and basically see if they'll take it down themselves, type of thing. One of the reasons I had to put it in as a read for this year is just how funny it is, and how authentic to my 80s that this book is. Just some of the phrases, the clothing, the atmosphere, the posters. Like, this is, before text messaging and cell phones and things like that. So it is just a really funny read. I wouldn't call it clean. It's definitely adult, but I mean, I think mature teenagers. It's nothing that you wouldn't see in a television show. So there's not that kind of spice, but very funny, and I guess you would call it a spy book, but it's really a comedy satire. Also my first book by Travis Kennedy. I don't know if this is his debut or not, but is it? Oh, okay. So debut. Okay.
So.
Yeah. So great start for the debut, and I might have opened myself up into another genre of 80s historical fiction, because I just felt really good when I got done reading this, because it was funny. And I had this like nostalgia of my childhood, and just thinking about some of the things. I have an older brother, so he was really into Def Leppard, and even had like one of those hair bands that had the feathered. And I don't know if you know this, but back then we liked to wear our hair really big and feathered back, and so it like made me nostalgia-wise, made me think of these days and. Simpler times. I think it was easier to be a kid or a teenager back then without all the technology and social media. So I just highly recommend it for the laughs, and then just a really good sneak peek into what it was like in the 80s.
Oh, okay. So next we have Bunny by Mona Awad, and We Love You, Bunny. So I love these books. I haven't actually read the second one yet, but I love the first one. Came out in 2019. It's very, very dark academia. The plot follows our protagonist is Samantha. She's a graduate student in a Master's of Fine Art creative writing program at, I think it's like an Ivy League university. And there are only like 5 people in her program, and the other 4 in the program are these girls who call themselves Bunny. So they just call each other Bunny, like, oh Bunny, I love your dress, oh Bunny, but your hair looks so cute. And they are just the complete opposite of what our main character Samantha is. She's a very dark kind of like, brooding, dyed black hair kind of person. And she's just like, kind of like put off by them because they wear white gloves even, like to this level, all color-coded pastel. So then, she kind of tries to avoid them. She has like one other friend on campus. They kind of make fun of them. And then the bunnies invite her to what they call their smut salon at their apartment. And some interesting things happen. Things get real dark real quick. And she finds herself kind of like embroiled in this, I won't call it a cult exactly, but it kind of is. So it's really funny, very disturbing. Really, really loved it. And so in the second book now, after the first book, the author or the character has written a book about her experience with the bunnies and given them like thinly veiled, and so they kidnap her, and now we're hearing their side of the story as to what happened. If you like just weirdness, highly recommend both. Well, I haven't read this yet, but also gotta point out that Margaret Atwood did blurb both of them, so that's saying something to me. But yeah, if you want a weird time, pick these up.
All right, so then I picked one more nonfiction. So The Gales of November. It's the untold story of the Edmund Fitzgerald. So this is actually the 50th anniversary next month of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which was the topic of that Gordon Lightfoot song. The Edmund Fitzgerald was, it sank in Lake Superior in November during a really bad storm, which, like the other thousands of shipwrecks on the Great Lakes. The crew went down with the ship. It sank very fast. So this covers the wreck. It also talks about the Great Lakes shipping industry and just the Great Lakes in general. I have a feeling this is going to become the definitive book of the disaster. He interviewed a ton of people. He interviewed people who worked on the ship prior to its sinking. He talked to family members of the victims. He did really extensive research, and obviously the people who were working on the ship now are getting up in age and probably are not going to be around much longer to share their stories. So I think this is going to be a big book. I think you're going to see this a lot. And I believe it comes out on Tuesday, actually. So I'm pretty excited for this one.
I got a preview copy. I didn't start yet, so. Okay. Does anyone have a guilty pleasure that's like their guilty pleasure? I don't know why. Mine is hockey romance. I don't read that much romance, but for some reason, if there's an ice puck, some ice, some skates, or a hockey stick on it, I will read it, no matter if it's going to be good or not. So this is one of those of my guilty pleasure, hockey romance.
Do you even watch hockey?
I don't know. No. I don't watch hockey. I have been to a hockey game like 3 or 4 times, and I always have fun, but I don't understand the rules.
So we're not reading for the on-ice action.
No.
I mean, I like the skating stuff is cool. Like, I don't know, something about it, and I just really, okay.
Marsha, I'm listening to the first one in this series right now. I'm on like the
Okay.
second to last
Well,
chapter.
the funny
so,
thing is,
hey,
okay,
I
so
don't like hockey either.
So there's a funny, okay, so obviously I got ensnared by this cover because I read all of the hockey romances, and this one, oh, getting strong, that sounds good, looks good. This is an romance, and I like romances generally.
If anybody doesn't read romance, that's male.
Male. And so generally I like them, and if it's in hockey, all the better, right? So, but I accidentally picked this one up because I read the first one and I did not like it at all. I gave it a 1 star.
She was doing some questionable things in that book. I'm sorry. But
Talk about unprofessional.
unprofessional, yeah.
So I did not like that one at all, and that was a while back. So this is book 4. So I forgot, and I don't think I've read any other books by this author, Emily Rath. So I forgot about that book, and I got this one, and it was on accident. And then I realized, I was like, oh no. Well, I mean, it's a hockey romance. I have it now, so I'm gonna read it. It's so good. Okay, so this is kind of a unicorn for a romance book. First of all, there's one main couple, and there's no guessing or, who's ending up with who or anything like that. There's no fake breakups or, like the fake breakup or the thing that happens. So it's really more about the development of the relationship. So it starts off, two main characters, starts off meet cute. I don't want to give it away because it's sweet. And our guy is a physical therapist for the team, and he is only in Jacksonville for a year of his internship, and then he goes away. And then 6 years later, he gets hired back. So the meet cute actually happens prior, in the first year, in the first time he was there, and there was like sparks fly, but he's there for work, and the other person, he's a hockey player, he's a worker, so nothing happens. But then this time around, a very unexpected family tragedy for one of them has the other one stepping in to help get things where they need to be, etc. And they end up developing a very sweet, nice, slow developing relationship. However, you will see there are 4 chili peppers up there. So this author is very, very spicy. This book is spicy. But I was impressed because the guys themselves, one of them, he doesn't really, he kind of considers himself asexual. So it's a discovery process for him in general, and then together as a couple, the development is really, really sweet. So the family tragedy that happens right off the top of the book is a very important part of the storyline, and I think that part of the plot is maybe what makes the whole book so good and so believable, with the slowness and the tenderness of this relationship that develops. So I cannot recommend book 1. Didn't read book 2 or 3 because of book 1. Accidentally got book 4, and it's awesome.
She writes romantasy too.
Does she?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
So I've never read another book by her, probably because of
Are
my.
the characters in this in the first one?
Okay, so for those of you who might just go back and read 1 through 3 because it's hockey, there are crossover characters, but these 2 characters are not strongly part of books 1 through 3. They're kind of they're part of the organization, the Rays organization.
it's got this
So
Oh,
yeah,
Yeah,
this one does, or?
yeah, this one has.
as far as the hockey goes.
Okay, never mind.
There's a little bit, as far as the hockey, yeah, there's a little bit of hockey. There's a kind of funny sideline with the whole hockey wives and things like that, so it's kind of fun seeing the background of sports organizations like that, like how a lot of them, they really are big families in the background, you know. They're there for each other and stuff like that. So that's kind of a cute and funny sideline. So anyways, guilty pleasure, hockey romance.
Okay, so this one, I don't know, I saw the cover and I was like, yeah, I like it. I like the title, I like the cover, I didn't know anything about it, didn't read anything about it. I don't know if this person has written any other books, but it's a very much an autobiographical, but it's fiction, but it's very much autobiographical from this author. It's set on Fire Island, which is a vacation island off New York City. In 1989, they have a really strong gay community there, or did at the time, and it's set right at the ramping up of the AIDS crisis, where gay men were getting sick and there was no treatment, and people were dying left and right. So basically our main character is a young man who comes out with his friend to work on Fire Island as a bartender for the summer during the vacation season to earn money. He's recently lost his boyfriend to AIDS and is basically terrified of, falling in love again and the same thing happening. So he falls in with these 3 older men who live in a house, and they are self-proclaimed disco witches. They have all these rituals for healing that involve dancing and stuff like that. And it's just basically about his summer. It's got fantasy aspects, but it's definitely not a romantasy. It's set in real life. And it's just kind of about how he grows as a person and just finds love. And it was, I would say, definitely for fans of like TJ Klune, things like really a moving story with a little bit of fantasy, but just like excellent characters. It was just a sweet book. It'll make you cry, but like in a good way. So highly recommend this one. Kind of just came out of nowhere, but I'll love it.
All right, so this is probably my favorite cover of the year. This one's Food Person by Adam Roberts. It is about a food writer. She gets laid off from her job, and she's looking for work, and she ends up getting hired as a ghostwriter for this very chaotic actress, Think like Lindsay Lohan, you know, crash and burn type thing. So as to try and like rehab her image and introduce her to the industry again, they decide she's going to write a cookbook. So our main character is hired as her ghostwriter. So you get kind of, it's more of a dramedy. It's funny, but there are serious elements to the story. There's a lot of food descriptions that are really great. There's a cute chef, so there's a little sprinkle of romance in there. I ended up really liking it. It was one that I loved the cover, but like when I read the description, I was like, I don't know about this. And then I actually ended up accidentally reading 3/4 of it in one sitting. So, yeah, if you like food, if you like coming of age stuff like Devil Wears Prada, that kind of thing, give it a try.
I met him last weekend at another book festival, and he's amazing. Like, he was so charming, so funny,
Oh my gosh.
and his partner said that he actually, like, his partner read the book and was like, he said to his partner, "Aren't you so proud of me?" And he goes, "You wrote yourself." You're the main character. And so he tells that story much better than I just did. But anyways, just so cool. So, just so cool of a person.
Well, I am low-key really jealous that you got to meet him. Yeah, it's great. It's great. And I love hearing that he's a great person, too.
Yeah.
So, really awesome.
This is a throwback. So when I first started reading urban fantasy many years ago, this was a book that always kept coming up on Goodreads lists and things like that. So I eventually dove in. This is the Fever series by Karen Marie Moning, and the reason it's on my list is that it's got a full re-release this year. The publisher re-released all new covers, and I did a reread in conjunction with this, and it's just as great as I loved it back then, and I love it now. So it's actually 5. The first 3, those are out with their new covers. They came out, I think, in early summer. And then the next 2, number 4 and 5, are getting their release in November. So those are coming up soon. And the premise is this. Michaela, her name is Michaela. She's a kind of 20-something Southern gal, and she's the younger sister. Her older sister is a do-gooder. She went away to college, and very, very early in chapter 1, I'm not giving away, her sister is murdered in Dublin, and she is not at all satisfied with what she's hearing from the investigators about what's going on with her case. And she basically just tells her parents, look, I'm going there to get answers. So she leaves Georgia, goes there, and then the book really takes off from the weirdness that happens after. It has a lot of Celtic and fantasy elements that kind of like, if you've read any Fae fantasy, it's like kind of that. I would not consider it romantasy so much because you are not going to get that happily ever after at the end of each book, but it's more of a progression of the series in general. There's a certain group of people you're trying to figure out pretty much the entire time. Who are these people? What are these people? And it's very interesting by the time you get to the end and you finally find out what happened to her sister and how much she's grown. She starts off as a fairly immature, younger, bartending little sister that basically is going she wants justice, and if she has to do it herself, she wants retribution. So it's great. It was a great series. I love the new covers. I really did not like the paperback covers that were out several years ago. The original covers were much darker, but I think these covers are a pretty good representation of what you might expect to see inside. It's there's a lot of Irish lore, Celtic fae, fantasy. The author has a large group of writing before, but she only ever did straight up romance before. This was her first veering away from regular romance. And there was a bit of a controversy at the time because a lot of her long-standing readers didn't like the shift from, you know, traditional historical romance to this more urban fantasy. And urban fantasy, usually you get some kind of a conclusion, like per book. The story of that book comes to a close. It may or may not be a happy ending, but you don't really maybe always get conclusion until closer to the end of the series, and that is definitely present with this. And so I think it was a big shift with the readers at the time, but for her it ended up working out well because she gained a whole new set of readers that were already into like urban fantasy and paranormal romance. So I would not call it a paranormal romance either, just because what I said about not every single one of the books has a happy ending. But it's really interesting. It was good writing, a lot of quirky characters, and just a lot of, I don't know what I'm going to say, mixture of the different lores from back in the era. So if you're interested in that, I would definitely recommend it. There is a really, really, really sexy man. So, and he's mysterious to the point of, it will drive you nuts how mysterious this sexy man is. And the best fictional bookstore of all time, of any book, of any movie, of anything I've ever read, it has the best bookstore ever. So that is my plug for the 20th anniversary re-release of the Fever series.
Oh, and we're going out on the weird one. So I have not read this, but this is Sarah Gailey. She is basically a horror writer.
She has some sci-fi.
Sci-fi too.
She's kind of, yeah.
She's all over the place.
She's a little all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
tentacles.
Yes, tentacles. So I didn't read this, but I gave it to my boyfriend, and he read roughly 1/3 of it, like this morning. Is that correct? And apparently it's quite explicit, sexually. So basically, what made me want to read this book was a Goodreads review. Was it's basically John Carpenter's The Thing, the movie, but 100 times sexier. 600 times sexier. So basically, it's these scientists are working in the desert in like a big biodome type situation, and the main character, Kinsey, is apparently attracted to viruses in a particular way. So something gets in the compound. I don't know, but it's really short. Megan, do you have it?
Oh yeah, short ones are good.
Super, super short.
I don't even know since 200.
Yeah, so I'm
Less
really,
than 200.
I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. I guess I've been told it kind of reads like a screenplay, so we'll see. And now you can have it back, Josh. I know you want to finish it.
Click.
All right, so there's a QR code up there. If you scan that, it'll take you to a list on our website where you can jump on and place your holds if you're interested in any of the titles we talked about. Otherwise, Sam said that I think she said, what is it, tomorrow or at the end of the day today, everybody who came to the book fair and bought something from Blue House today will get an email with a coupon for the titles that are listed as well. So.
Any questions or anything you're really excited about? Cool, well, thank you for joining us.
That's